Hey, Norm.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. You're in Orange County?
Well, right now I'm in Riverside.
Oh, okay. No, I was cause I'm Jeremy, by the way, with Moto. I'm
Hey,
not I'm not
Jeremy.
Skinner. Sorry. Skinner's gonna be joining in like 3 minutes. And usually what we do is I just put myself on mute and in the background. And if there's any questions that you or Skinner might have that, you know, Skinner can't answer, he's just like, hey, Jeremy, be sure to send this to Norm after this. And so I'm like taking notes just in
Is
case.
Ross Kennedy joining us?
I think so. I am not 100%. We're about to find out.
Well, that's Skinner for sure.
Yes, yes, it is.
Hey,
Hello. Hi. I have unfortunate news that Ross can't make it this morning.
that's okay.
All right, sorry. He has kids problems. The, the school and things and yeah, it's it's
Kids are problems.
it's been it's been a sort of reoccurring theme for us when we try to meet, but it's okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'll
It's
try to
yeah,
be
we can
fun.
roll with it.
Yeah, yeah, rolling with it.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put myself on mute. And Skinner, you know the deal. If you need anything, let me
Yes.
know. I'm
Okay.
taking notes in case I need to send anything to Norm after this. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll let two of you take it from here and have fun.
All right, dude. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Okay, let me just kick this off real quick, Skinner.
Okay.
And here we go.
Yes.
Everyone, we are here with the amazing artist Skinner, and we are here to talk about this new project that he and Ross Kennedy have been working on called, and this name is amazing, Shrine of Abominations. Skinner, how are you, man?
I'm doing really well. I'm glad you like the title.
It's
Because
just so epic.
well, what's funny is like I find a lot of humor in absurdism and like epic insane, like when things are so exaggerated and insane, it's very funny to me. But I feel like it encapsulates a lot of the vibe, it's like over the top. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how you came up with the title, but it's like it feels like it was inspired, obviously, like you said, the your love for the extreme and the absurd. Um, and it almost feels like a bit of I don't know, heavy metal up in there.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all those things and more. But when we were coming up with a title, I wanted something that was a sort of place marker for anything could potentially happen in this world, because when we created it, we're like, okay, we're telling a story, and um the story started to expand, and then the idea that this was a world where many stories could be told with many antagonists and protagonists, and like powerful deities, gods, and unholy elder things, all the way down to like little cavemen that are just trying to survive in this environment or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, I want to make up a crazy title that's very obnoxious, like how I like to do. And then we're like, okay, cool. Now it's like anything could happen. So it was sort of like giving ourselves creative permission to keep expanding if we wanted to.
Excellent, excellent. And this was like supposed to be a short, but
Hmm.
then what made you think, oh, wait a minute, there's more here?
Well, the nature of, I think, doing art for art's sake is that you're kind of in a position where things reveal themselves, I guess. Stuff reveals itself instead of it being sort of constrained by logistics, like say a budget, or like how many people are involved, or like who has lost their mind during the production, or who's still involved. So it's sort of like, oh, let's just see what can happen. And so it started to get longer, and then we're like, okay, cool, this short story is a cool introduction to this world. And then recently I talked to the folks at Screenbox, and so they were asking me, can you throw together a budget? Maybe we could expand this into like a full film or something, because we didn't know specifically if we were like, are we going to do this in chapters? Is it going to be just like,
Is it going to be an episodic, or is it going to be one
yes.
piece?
Yeah. So I was like, well, I've written like a ton of episodes and a ton of moments and scenes and time and things that change and new characters that come and all this stuff. And so essentially right now what I'm kind of doing is interviewing producers to see if there's one that's like a good fit for stop motion.
Mhm.
Because then if we do develop if we do develop a good relationship with a producer and we get a budget, potentially it could be an 80-minute long film that has like, you know, theater releases and all this stuff. But that's also like going into a whole new production. So I'm a little I'm also kind of like very excited slash, is this a nightmare? Am I, what's gonna happen? I don't know, you know. I don't know what's gonna happen. So
It's a very Lynchian approach to the project, you know, just kind of letting it happen.
yes, it's a very letting it happen kind of situation. I'm far more energized by seeing what happens or what could happen potentially, instead of trying to control everything because I'm afraid, you know. So I mean, just like that golden moment when David Lynch basically discovered that the one of the PRs or tech grips or light guys was to become Evil Bob in Twin Peaks, because
Yes.
they had accidentally had him reflected in the mirror. And he's like, oh, okay, have you ever done any acting? Because you're the bad guy now. You know, and like, and I'm like, yeah, you know, seeing mistakes as, I don't know, like an opportunity instead of something to set you back. I don't know. There's, yeah, I guess I am kind of in my David Lynch stuff right now.
You know what? And that's cool. That's because, you know, Lynch is awesome. Um,
Yeah.
so this was filmed in secret over the past 6 years.
Yeah, essentially for 6 years, we've been kind of just working on it slowly, because I mean, you know, if we had like a budget and a schedule and, you know, support and all this stuff, it wouldn't take 6 years. But it's sort of like, hey, let's fit this in, or what about this scene, and let's get this going. And like, there were even moments where I said, you know, it might be easier if while you're filming some of these scenes that I have my friend Scott Bryan, who works on Guar stuff, make a giant suit, and then we could do some like live action stuff too. Because you know the old King Kong movie by Willis O'Brien, where
Yeah.
you get the cool puppet and everything, and then all of a sudden it's a close-up of King Kong's face in his hand, and he's like, ugh. And it doesn't really look like King Kong, but you know it's him, you know it's King Kong. And I'm just
Or
like,
it's supposed to be.
yes. And I'm very in love with that handmade kind of stuff, like the charm of it being an art project, and it's not hiding it. You can't hide. I mean, this is stop motion. It's not real. So, um, and I said, okay, let's do this. So we made some suits. Ross helped make some weird, creepy masks out of silicone and all this stuff. And then and then I became friends with Phil Tippett by helping him on Mad God a little bit.
Oh my God, that movie was
So,
amazing.
yeah. So I would on weekends sometimes I would go like help out a little bit, you know. And then I said, hey, is it cool if we film some live action stuff over in the green screen room over at Tippett Studios? And he said, yeah, sure, I'll bring my fancy camera. And I was like, oh, okay, so you want to help? Like, okay. And so he just came and he had his camera, and Phil was doing the camera work and like directing the scenes and all this shit. And it was like funny because I was like, I didn't officially ask him to do that. I just asked if we could do this, but I was like, well, if I'm getting this, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, okay,
Phil
keep
Tippett.
going. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, you know. And so it's, yeah, I mean, I keep getting away with shit. I guess that's also kind of David Lynchian in a way, where you just sort of like ask for one thing and then the universe offers you something else, and then you go, okay, that's fine.
You
I'll go.
go, oh yeah, oh, yes, and
Thank you, Phil
but
Tippett.
like, oh, so I had the privilege of interviewing Phil for Mad God,
Mm,
and he, I got to tell you, I mean, like, I loved it so much. Like,
yeah.
he's gruff, but
Mhm.
he's like, he is straight up. Like,
Oh yeah, you're not gonna get any bullshit. I know.
no, and I
No.
just
Yeah.
loved it. And sometimes it was just one answer, one word answer, you know. And then another
Yeah.
time it was like, he's telling me about, talking about making, why did it take so long to make his movie? And he says, well, he
Yeah.
says, well, in order to take a good shit, you have to eat a good meal, you know?
Yeah. And you're like, okay,
I'm
sounds
like,
sounds good. But
right.
I think the thing is though, is that like, you know, the it- it's like working in Hollywood for somebody like Phil. I mean, that's like golden handcuffs in a lot of ways, you
Yeah.
know. It's like he's celebrated and loved for this stuff that's affected so many people, but it's through like the lens of somebody else's project. It's like some Hollywood thing. Now, the stuff with Paul Verhoeven is like legendary shit. It's totally important. It's like profound cultural like moments, I
Yeah.
think. You know, like anti-fascist, anti the state, police stuff, all this stuff. But like it's like one of those things where for us, you know, I had my heart broken by I didn't have any successes in Hollywood before I had my heart broken by Hollywood.
Mm.
Like I had already tried to do like jump through the hoops and get like shows and like, you know, through and all this stuff, and it was very close, but it didn't happen, and I'm like, you know, maybe that's for a reason. So I was like, well, I'm just going to do things my way and figure it out. Right. Well, with Phil, it was like, how many times did he have Hollywood successes before he got his heart broken? There's like so many,
Yeah.
you know, and then all of a sudden it's like Jurassic Park is like, oh, it's not going to be stop motion, it's CGI. And then like basically the institution that you've dedicated your life to is letting you know that it's like your services are no longer needed here.
Mm.
And so in a way, Mad God to me is like this beautiful realization that art, for art's sake, for somebody who can do this stuff and should do this stuff, it's like this is the coolest thing that you've done. It's like
Mm.
this because it's for you, it's involved in the community of people around you, and it has nothing to do with the box office, has nothing to do with expectations of, you know, studios or um you know, people in suits who don't know anything about art but somehow have an opinion about you and what you're doing. And so I think it's like it's interesting for me because I'm like still like wide-eyed and very excitable, and I'm like, I'm making a thing, we're doing a thing.
Mm.
We literally have like two or three people involved in this, you
Mm.
know. And for him, I just feel like I want to go knock on his door, and you know, I go see him and stuff and be like, hey man, let's make a dinosaur movie, you love dinosaurs, you know. But it's like one of those things where, you know, does it's like I don't know. It's like you get like tossed around in the laundry machine for so long. It's like, you know, so I don't know. His contributions are so vast, but it's not like like, you know, Ray Harryhausen, those movies were Ray Harryhausen movies.
Right.
It's not like these are Phil Tippett movies.
Right.
And so I have like a lot of compassion for the kind of I don't know, like the sort of complex relationship that he's had with Hollywood and all this stuff. And it's like, you know, I mean, the highs of that shit. It's insane. Star Wars, RoboCop, Starship Troopers, all this stuff, you know.
I know.
I'm lucky that the dude helped me with my little crappy film, you know. So it's like
Well, this is Shrine of Abominations is sort of your mad god.
yeah, it
You
is.
know?
Yeah, and I didn't, you know, and I did, it's not, it hasn't taken 30 years. I mean, some people go six years, that's a long time. I go, it is, but it's not like Mad God time.
Yeah.
That's long. That's a long ass time, you know. But I took some incredible photos of him like working when he was doing it. They're
Awesome.
yeah, like the smoke and everything. But you know what? I did in that movie when that Jeep is going down the ziggurat.
Yeah.
I pulled it. There's one scene that I was like, oh, I know, I remember I pulled that. I have a photo of me too. I was like, for you know, posterity. I was like, take a photo of me pulling the Jeep, and I'm like, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm pulling a Jeep.
That is so awesome, man. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you describe your aesthetic? Subtle?
Good Lord, subtle. I have aspired to be subtle many times in my life, and when it should have been appropriate, but it never worked out. But I would say it's sort of like psychedelic, you know, fantasy. It's sort of like psychedelic nightmare art. I don't know, when somebody when I meet somebody, you know, at the dentist office or something, and they, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I do like illustration. You know, I kind of slowly build up to like, I make psychedelic nightmare art. That's totally insane and crazy. You know,
No.
it's got some Jungian stuff in there. It's got some like sort of graphic design elements, but it also has like a lot of mythology and horror and sort of like a reflective examination of our own experiences and stuff. And they're like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, I do like skateboard art. Like, you know, like skateboards, like I do that, like drawings on skateboards, you know. So I mean, I don't know, it's sort of hard. Like I've done music videos, I write stories, like, you know, I made these books, the Necronomicon pop-up book. I've done like, you know, live projections for bands, and I don't know, comics and acting, all this stuff is very
You work in tons of mediums.
yeah. So
But
I don't know what to say. I'm just like, whatever I can get away with, that's what I do, you know.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like when you talk to somebody out of state and they're like, "Where are you from?" You just say LA.
Yeah,
You
right.
don't say,
Los Angeles.
yeah, you don't say Garden Grove because they're
Thousand Oaks. I'm from Thousand Oaks, friend.
not Hollywood, North Hollywood.
Yeah.
But
I'm by the giant pile of feces. You'll find me up there.
oh my God. Speaking of feces, um,
Yes.
is there a particular sequence in the film that you really dig right now that you're excited to show people?
Well, there's some like there's a scene right now that's getting filmed that is sort of the epic ending that I'm so excited to like see, because the storyboards are nuts. My friend Pete, he helped us with the storyboards. He took some time out of storyboarding that new Chucky show
Yeah.
to help us. He's wonderful. Pete Von Schally. He's like a legendary storyboard artist and comic guy. But there's like a sequence where one of the characters has a transformational like I don't know, like a sequence of becoming something else, and I'm like really excited about that, because actually when we did the live action stuff with Phil, we got different people in suits and they're all kind of walking in this procession to this ritual, right? And the moment of transformation happens and is like this big explosion and all this stuff. But like, so Phil pulled me into the back room and he's all, you have to scare them. That's how you're going to get the real reaction. And he gave me a piece of metal and a hammer. He goes, hide this. And when it's time and you say action, and you slam the hammer on the metal and you scare them. And I was like, he said, Paul Verhoeven taught me that. And I was like, okay. So I go over, I like hide, because they're in the masks too. Like they can't see anything, the actors. And I go, okay, action. And then I just slam the hammer on the metal and they like did freak out. They were like, ah, like, what is that noise? He's all, see, it worked. See? So I'm actually really curious about how that moment is going to transfer to that. And I'm going to be like, oh, that was that thing where Phil had made me slam a piece of metal.
That spontaneous knee-jerk moment.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm very pleased and filled with glee about all these little random insane things that happen. So it's cool.
I'm really looking forward to seeing a version of the finished product because something tells me it's just going to keep evolving.
Yeah, I think so too. Mystery Meat Media, who is also here in the Bay Area, they just finished up all the animation for Boots Riley's I Am a Virgo stuff, because Boots, he's from Oakland here, and they're gonna probably help too. And then Webster Colcord and Tom Gibbons from Tippett Studios are like really on board to do it. So I'm like what I love to do with all of my projects is like figure out a way to like pay my weird friends to do stuff and like you know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
well, that's kind of what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's about for me. That's for sure. I mean, even the reward tiers on the Kickstarter are like prints and toys and shirts and stuff. Like the shirt company are my punk rock friends at Bay Merch. The toys are 3D cast and produced by this guy Ricky Matthews, who's this like weird dude who lives here in town, and the prints are printed by Monolith Press here in town. It's like so it's like trying to figure out how to keep the machine going. And so I like that idea that when somebody is like, hey, you're not just getting something cool by backing this, like with a print or a toy or a shirt or whatever, you're backing a cool independent project. You're helping me help pay my friends that keep things going in a very small way. And it's like, it's not going out into the ether somewhere, and so I don't know. I take a lot of like, I guess, personal pride in the fact that I'm trying to live with as much integrity as possible in this way. And so I don't know. Maybe that's not very Hollywood, but that's how I got to do it.
You're not doing Hollywood right now.
No, and probably won't ever. And that's fine.
And that's okay. So people can still contribute to the Kickstarter. Yeah.
I think, there's like 50 hours left. I don't know when this will go up, but it'll be like, I think Friday at noon or Thursday at noon. So it's gonna, but basically what I'm gonna do is probably try to like leave up like a store on the Kickstarter so that people can still contribute if they want or buy stuff.
You have to do that. You have to do that. I mean, don't cut yourself off for more money. I mean, come on.
No, I'm not trying.
So what do you need? You're looking for a producer. You're looking for, put this out to the universe. What do you need from
this is what I'm trying to do is somebody who's really adept at like systematically scheduling things and keeping people on schedule, like a producer, right? Because that's what I've been doing, is basically producing this. And I don't want that job anymore because it's too insane.
Time consuming. It's insane.
Oh yeah, where I'm like, okay, I'm helping paint all this stuff, writing all this stuff, and I'm producing and I'm making sure there's money for this and doing that. It's like so much managing.
Mhm.
And I would rather be creative. So I think yeah, like a stop motion specific producer. And I think that like somebody who understands more, not super professional. This is very DIY. It's very punk. It's like a lot of stuff is made out of junk we find and we fix it up and make it. It's an art project. It's not like, okay, we need to have this fabricated by this company and all this stuff. Because like, you just basically all your money just goes out. You know what I mean? So we're like, okay, how do we hand make everything and create, make it special and cool? And some, because like to me, I'm like, let's just go to some junkyards and like go to these, thrift stores or like flea markets or weird stuff and just find random crap. Be like, that looks cool, because you could put it in the background and then paint it and fix it up and make it nuts. And to me, that's sort of part of the joy of creating it, is because it's like a collage and you're creating these memories in the process, and the process is important. So I guess like a producer who can interpret my like mystical bullshit and make it cool.
Okay, there you go.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like, I feel like, somebody who understands like what the values are, I guess. I mean, in a way, that's kind of what it boils down to. Like the value, like this is what we're trying to do, something cool. Because, as people will try to push you through things and all this stuff. And I'm like,
Right.
I understand that there needs to be boundaries, there needs to be a schedule, and things need to be adhered to. That's important because you're hiring somebody to keep you on your shit. But at the same time, when you're doing something, if it's like, this doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
This isn't actualized here. This
Mhm.
feels less than. So I don't know. Yeah. We'll see
So
what
you
that
find
works
you're
out.
you're looking for a unicorn, is what you're trying to say?
Well, we need a unicorn. Yeah, I think, but I don't mind stepping in, I don't mind like helping and being like, okay, this is where I'll take over and make sure that, we're
Yeah.
doing it this way. So
And
yeah,
what's the
we'll see.
goal? Sorry, forgive me.
No, I said we'll see.
Yeah. Well, what's the tentative goal with regards to any sort of release or preview or anything like that?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I can get you a cool, totally work in progress thing soon, like in the next,
Well, I'm down to see whatever, but
okay.
but as far as something that is actually going to go out, do you have
Oh,
any
okay.
say or?
Well, the goal so far is like, it's April, May, June, end of June, there'll be it'll be done. So
Excellent.
for 30 or 40 minutes, right? Depending, we're trying to like, because there's lots of things that are kind of have expanded, and then there's some scenes that aren't shot yet. So we don't know. It could be longer than 30, but
Yeah.
and then also now we have decided that there are some key moments where I will be doing some like hand painted like paintings that will be inserted into the film too. So there's some moving parts, but it's only expanding, so it won't be less than 30.
Perfect.
Yeah, but yeah, it's so end of June, that's the goal. And then yeah, so the next 3 or 4 months we're gonna be having to cook this thing.
Cooking with gas.
Yeah. Yep.
Getting on the
Evil gas.
trolley. Okay. Well, all right, man. Well, Skinner, I thank you for taking the time to talk to me and kind
Of
of take a
course.
deep dive.
Absolutely. I should hit you up in the future. I'm gonna be helping Peaches Christ. I don't know if you know Peaches Christ.
Oh, I know. I love Peaches, and she and I are actually putting on a drag show at Midsummer Scream.
Oh, okay. So you already know that we're because Peaches is doing the Terror Vault again, and so I'm going to help build out like an entire room there.
Oh, awesome. You know what? Then
Yeah,
I'll probably run into you because we're supposed to do a horror buzz night at Terror Vault.
come. I want to meet you in person. It'll be wonderful.
We'll have the best time.
Yes, we will.
Yes, yes. And I'll bring you a little horror buzz shirt and
Okay,
we'll be real life friends.
absolutely. Sounds good.
All right. Well, tell Joshua I said, hey, next time you talk to him.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. And keep going, and keep making art for art's sake.
Thank you. I will. I appreciate you so much.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.